Hello, today we got Sega Saturn that we're going to put a GDEMU ODE into. It's pretty simple. We're going to take the disk drive out and we're going to put this little chip in and its little adapters, and that's it. So first things first, got to take this off. I already kind of pulled it off because it's a pain. This is the dial-up modem that it came with. And then after that, there are some screws here on the corners that we take out. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all the same size, so you don't really need to worry about keeping track. I will show you one little fun fact about this. 1 second here. So, on the Dreamcast, you'll notice right here the little 1. You need the little 1 for your Model 1 Dreamcast, version 1 Dreamcast. Otherwise this does not work. I literally had to go find someone to swap me Dreamcast because I had a Model 2, which is apparently super rare. Go me. Alright, up and off. Off we go. Okay, the next step is we got to take the disk drive out. Those screws are different, so keep those separate. There should be 3. 1, 2, and then third one down here. And then this should just come out. That's it. See, there's not even any ribbon cables or anything. I am going to keep this. I should have tested it before to make sure it actually worked, but I'm going to keep this. Actually, I can test it now. Just put it back in. Maybe I'll do that in a cut. But I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep those screws over here just in case I ever want it again. But I'll keep it in a baggie with the labeled and everything and use it for later. Okay, the next step, and since I'm probably not going to put this back together, I'm going to take off the 12-volt rail. And if you can see here closely, there we go. So you got 12-volt, ground, 5-volt. This is the 12-volt regulator right here. So we're actually going to take it off and desolder it from the board. Otherwise, it causes heat issues. And instead of, trying to add a new little fan to it, some people will add a set of resistors to it to kind of drop that 12-volt line out of there. I'm just going to do this just so it's one and done. It's going to be fairly easy to do, so I'm just going to do it, I guess, the right way. I don't know if there's a wrong way, but there's definitely different ways of doing things. Oh, that's right. Feels like it's stuck because it kind of is. So this here is like a pressure type fitting that keeps those connected together. Trying to find me a spudger or something, so I'm not using my metal screwdriver. Sometimes these cause issues with power too. If your machine will just randomly flick on and off, reset. Sometimes these aren't making a good connection and you need to kind of go through and fortify those. Otherwise, you just kind of lift through and that pops off. And you can see where those pins are hanging up to. So I'll get this on the microscope and we can desolder this. First off, I'm just going to take this screw off that holds it to the heat sink. We shouldn't need it anymore after that point, but this way we can get it off the other side without having to mess with it. Come on off. There we go. And then we're going to flip it over and we find our 3 legs right here. Okay, now that we've got our 12-volt rail removed, we've got that regulator out of there, we need to put it back on, and we just got to set these holes down through these pins here. Just got to make sure this little shield underneath is lined up. That pops in there, that pops in there. Cool, cool. And we just need to reattach the screws. And then we can do the mod itself. This wasn't 100% necessarily, but it does help with the heat and the life of the unit. And if we can never open this again and make it run forever like this, that is an excellent plan in my opinion. Okay, so at this point, we got the mod, we've got the socket here, which will fit in here. But this pin right there, the one with the gold ring around it, we do have a long screw that it came with, and it also came with the spacer. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the spacer and the screw like this, and it's going to sit, let me grab this, it's going to sit on this screw right there. So the trick is to kind of put the spacer over that. We'll put the screw in the spacer, just kind of let it sit like that, and then we're going to just firmly push this in like so. And now we can Tighten this up. Or solid. Now this next step isn't totally necessary. At this point we can just simply put our files on the SD card, put the top back on and go. But we'll have this big gap where the disk drive was. So instead, I'm going to use this SD card extender. Now some people have had issues with these clones and the SD card extender, so we'll see how it goes. The SD card extender comes here, and then we've got the shell that's going to sit right over here and fill in the hole of where the disk drive went. So it's supposed to go up inside here and screw in, but you can see these are flat, and I've got screw posts here, so they don't exactly line up like I would think they should. But we're going to give it a go anyway, and maybe we can get it just to hold in place. So let me zoom in, maybe we can see it a bit. So you can see those little posts. So I'm hoping that these little pan head screws, tilt just a bit. Okay, so this is in here. I'm gonna set that down for just a second. Grab my little teeny screws that it came with. So it came with these teeny little pan head screws. And I'm hoping that the little pan heads will hold this adapter in place good enough. It actually looks like it's going to work, so that's not too bad. So I've got two of these. I'll just attach this ribbon cable in first, because I have to do that before we can attach it to the unit. Otherwise we won't be able to access it. All right, so we'll make sure that's in. Okay, it is keeping that nice and solid. So now the second part is, let me zoom back out for you, is that this is going to sit, let's bend this so it's not kinked. So it's going to sit about like that in the drive. I think it needs to sit back a little further than it is right there. So, and also before we put this on, is it did come with a button. So the button goes in here, and it's to reset this GDEMU. So it's going to be kind of a tricky little mess to get this to stay put while I put that in place. Sorry if you can't see it very well. There. Click, 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 click. So I have to hold this down or it will fly away. Okay. See, it's already moving on me. Okay, right there. Still works. And then we've got these little screws it came with. To attach into place. Now, it's still wobbly, wobbly, gobbly. It's not very good. But let's put the shell on and see if it kind of settles it down a bit. And it does. Okay. So, it wobbles a little bit, but the button works. The SD card's there. There's a spare slot. Everything's good. So, let's reattach this all together, and we should be done. You know, except for formatting the SD card and everything, but that's kind of out of the scope of what I'm doing here. I'll post a little tutorial online how to format the SD card, in case this was your only video about this. It should be fairly straightforward. Put some of the config files on here, and then your ISO. They're probably I'm trying to remember the format that they use for these. It's a little bit different. It's more like a bin.q file, but I will post somewhere up on the screen what it's called, or you can read down below. And that's it. This one's fairly trivial and easy. What did I miss? That one. Okay, cool. And with that, it has been put together. Let's put our modem back on. And I'll clean that up. And we now have our GDEMU install button working and everything. Awesome. With the SD card inserted, we turn it on. And assuming we've set up our SD card properly, we do get a menu with our list of games. And from this list, we can pick what we want. Obviously, Quake 3 is the best game here, so we're going to choose Quake 3. And funny enough, even though it's a really good looking game, it's super hard to play on this stupid joystick. Keyboard and mouse all the way, guys. Totally.